Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, silence on polluters. Also, the V team takes a look at Doug Jones strikes back. And Secretary of State John Merrill enters the U.S. Senate race. Is it a game changer? All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and always I'm joined by the V team. Welcome all.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
So, Charlie, how's your week?
My week's been very, very busy, but productive.
Good. Josh, welcome back from Florida.
The beach. Oh, thank you. Yeah. My
I'll
week has
tan.
not been very productive, and it's exactly the way I
Yeah. And Susan, we had a nice trip this weekend as well.
We did. Going to bring you more on that next week.
All right. Well, Josh, while you were sunning in Florida, Secretary of State John Merrill declared his candidacy for the U.S. Senate. Secretary Merrill is a very cautious candidate, and if he is running, he knows some things that probably not everyone knows. One thing we do know is he had a spectacular rollout for a Republican candidate. I mean, he hit all the high notes and slapped his opponents around at the same time.
Yeah, he pandered very well. Listen. I like John. I'm one of the few, more liberal people in the state that likes Merrill. I think he's done a pretty good job as Secretary of State. I think there are some things that he gets blamed for, voter ID being one of them. That's not necessarily his issue that was kind of put on his office, and he handled it. I thought he handled that office handled it much better than some others around the country, and so I give him a lot of credit for that. I think he causes himself some problems on Twitter, but who am I to talk?
Your pot calling his kettle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we're in the same wheelhouse there. But yeah, it was a very good rollout, and I told someone earlier that I think that Merrill and Roy Moore will probably be in the runoff for this thing on the Republican side.
Susan, I mean, you've done a lot of work and with the Secretary of State over the years before Secretary Merrill and afterwards. And I know those of us who use it regularly have been amazed at the changes that have happened.
Been a dramatic difference in the way that office is managed. The way that, we use their campaign finance records. Of course, Merrill, when he went in, said he was also going to monitor them. He has. He's gotten that office absolutely tight and efficient in the way it runs. And also, he's been the only one holding the banner and saying, we've got to stick by these ethics laws. He goes in, he finds the violation of the Campaign Finance Act where they've filed them later, they filed them wrong or whatever, and keeps going to the Ethics Commission who just goes, give him another few years.
Yeah.
But, Merrill's in there with, 7 pages this long of violations.
Right.
And doing his job, and the Ethics Commission just brushes it out.
You've got the Republican Secretary of State is the only guy in the Republican Party that's standing up for the ethics laws or the campaign finance laws, because as soon as he brings up the issue, Charlie, takes him to the Ethics Commission, who's appointed by the Republican hierarchy, they go...
They completely disregard him.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they do.
It's crazy.
He's been 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I do think, and Josh, you hit it a little bit, and Charlie, you took some issue with it. He was a pander bear, but you got to pander to the base if you want to run a primary.
You do, and he did. And don't get me wrong, he did a fantastic job. I mean, the crowd, he resonated with the crowd great, He jumped on a little bit with the up with the border wall, down with Pelosi, He got on with that, he did. But
He didn't show any love to AOC either.
or Chuck Schumer. No, certainly not.
Those are the
But
hot buttons.
in John Merrill's style, he did it very gracefully.
He did.
Very
Elegantly.
As though he were giving him a compliment.
Well, and
Exactly.
I mean, the way he hit Tommy Tuberville was just like, well, some walk when the money calls.
Reminding everybody that Tuberville was in Florida this time last year. So, but that's how it works. And Merrill has he has his biggest issue going into this is the fact that he is a more liberal Republican. He is a guy that was a Democrat.
I see that in the new ad.
Yeah, right back at you. Bradley Byrne was a Gore delegate. Let's not forget that.
I'm not saying anything. Listen, I can't hurt him. I've already hurt him enough by saying I like John Merrill. There's no worse endorsement he could have than me saying
But
I like John Merrill.
isn't it really interesting, though, that you can have ideologically be poles apart, but still like the people? Mm-hmm. And a lot of these people, you can't be friends with them if you don't agree with them. Because they
agree with their agenda, they won't even hardly talk to you. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it goes on both sides, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
I think what I liked about Merrill is the fact that when you go in and you question him about something that he has done, he can give you a reason for why he's done it. It's not a partisan sort of a thing. It's here's why we did this, and here's the results of this. Here's what we were trying to accomplish, and that's why we did it. And that's the reason why I have respected the job that he's done as Secretary of State.
Also, if you call him, he answers the phone. Even if you call the Secretary of State's office phone and there's nobody else in the office, he'll answer the phone himself. If he can't answer the phone, he'll call you right back, and always does.
Yeah, he does.
And always.
Oh, I was just going to say something I love about him. He never forgets a name or a face either.
That's right.
He doesn't.
It's interesting, Charlie. There's a poll came out this week that said that Tommy Tuberville and Bradley Byrne were beating Roy Moore. I don't believe that any more than I believe that the moon's made out of Swiss cheese.
No, I genuinely don't believe that, especially, like Beth said last week, something Moore is always going to have is that 36%, that 34, 36%. He's always going to have that. So especially split all these ways with these candidates, there's no way.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they've got Tuberville at 29%. That's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible, unless the poll is a little skewed.
Well, the poll was skewed.
It was taken into Auburn. I don't. It was skewed. It was skewed in the way that the number of college graduates, people with college degrees,
64, 65%
way
college
up high, double what it is in the state overall.
In reality,
and way higher than it is among the Republicans in the state. And so, because let's be honest, if you look at most of the Moore support they're going to be people without college degrees.
Right.
I'm not saying those are dumb people or anything like that, but because there are a lot of smart people that don't have a college degree. Yeah. But that's where they come from.
Well, and I think that everybody's tracking these polls. The people that are tracking them honestly are worried about Moore.
Yeah.
Doug Jones came out this week and he hit Merrill right on the nose and he hit Roy Moore. Mm-hmm. If he was worried about Bradley Byrne and the rest of them right now, he'd have punched him too.
He'd have hit everybody.
Yeah. Well, we're going to leave it right there. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back with more news and opinion.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. Access to clean, affordable energy continues to be an issue of vital importance in the halls of government and around the kitchen tables across our nation. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seat belts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to The Bee, the voice of Alabama politics. You know, Susan, we were talking about the poll that says they're trying to claim that Roy Moore is not as popular as he was because President Trump spoke out against him. All he said was he shouldn't run, he can't win. But the truth is...
How'd that work last time?
Yeah, the truth is Roy Moore can win and has won the nominee before. Mm-hmm. And as we were talking during the break, the Republican Party that in Alabama and nationally has moved more towards Roy Moore over the last 40 years than Moore has moved. Moore hasn't changed, Susan. You've known him since you were a young girl.
I have.
At the mall?
Actually, I was around that time. No, I wasn't. Anyway.
But some of those people were your friends.
Some of those people were my friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not changed since he was a judge in Etowah County. Not changed since the day I watched him go against Alabama Power in a courtroom. He's the same guy, same dude he's been all these years.
Yeah.
And he's not going to change, and that's what his followers like about him.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah, he's been that same guy. He's been the guy, that put the Ten Commandments deal in the, in the rotunda, and he's always been that dude. He's hung him on his courtroom wall in the circuit court, and that's how he got started. And with this pandering, BS that he does all the time. But now that sort of thing is popular within the GOP, and especially within the Alabama GOP.
Well, yeah, it is. And I mean, we to this day see Roy Moore signs when you travel in the rural parts of Alabama. And these people like Roy Moore. I mean, they do. They respect him. And again, outside of the accusations in last year, he would have won hands down.
He completely would have won. I mean, I've been seeing it more and more, once again, on social media. His followers, even more so, are just all over the place. They're all over the articles. They're absolutely, completely for him. Quoting when one of them said, he's an absolutely for the people Alabamian. So that's what they see him as. And because he hasn't changed in such a long time, they know they can trust him.
Yeah.
And because you can see all these national Republicans coming after him, if they weren't worried about him, they'd shut up.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, though. I do think, and I wrote this earlier this week, I think he has a big problem with the loss to Doug Jones. I think that's a pretty big albatross to hang around his neck, and it's an easy talking point, and it's something that people can grab onto a lot, because the one thing, while they may like Roy Moore, they hate Democrats even worse than they love Roy Moore, and so I think that's going to be a problem for them, for him in this race when they start really hammering him on being the guy who could lose to Doug Jones again. You want to lose to Doug Jones?
Well, and I think that's what Merrill said in his commercial. He said, the problem is Republican Party keeps nominating people that can't win. And I think Doug's in trouble no matter who wins.
Yes.
I think that Roy Moore is still a wild card, and to ignore him is foolish.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like, honestly, I don't think Roy Moore's base is going to let him lose twice if he gets that far. That may be just me.
Well, that also depends on how many other Republicans he could draw above that 35%.
Exactly.
But the thing is, this is a presidential primary.
Yeah.
I mean, this is such a solid Trump state. You're going to have people showing up to vote who never vote in a general, won't vote in a
in
general
the
election.
primary, I don't know, because you're going to have Trump, and it's going to be a foregone conclusion there. But in the general, I mean, yeah, I got a bad feeling that Doug's going to lose to the little bubble that says straight ticket Republican.
Yeah, that's
right. Really,
right about that.
I don't think he can. I don't think he can overcome that, no matter who the name is under.
Sure. And but getting back to the primary, this is, I mean, races are generally won and lost in Alabama in the primary. If you're a Democrat and it's a Democratic-leaning district, the primary is the game. Same for Republicans. But Josh, this is what Charlie brought up. If you get a split, then that primary becomes more interesting. Would it be wise for the GOP to make up its mind now who it wants to have in that office and stealthily support that candidate? Or do we see the same thing that happened to Luther?
Yeah, I don't know that they can do that. You know, I think that what to me, you're much better off. And you saw this with the Democratic Party nationally in the last presidential election, where a lot of those Bernie supporters were really angry about the way they perceived Hillary Clinton being pushed upon them there. So they stayed home. Trump won those states, and now we know the awful history. And so, but that I think you could have the same thing here, where you do have somebody that they're pushing like a Luther Strange. They don't have a flawed candidate like that right now, but if you start thrusting somebody on the people, they're going to reject them.
I mean, I think it probably in an ideal world, it comes down to Merrill and Bradley coming out of the, because I mean, if anybody thinks Tommy Tuberville should be the U.S. Senator from Alabama, I seriously got to think they need their heads.
Especially since he lives in Florida.
If you wouldn't hire the football coach as your football coach,
Right.
why do you want him to be your senator?
And why do you want a football coach to be your senator in the first place? I don't know. And Arnold Moody, nice guy. Some of the other guys, nice guys. They just don't. When Richard Shelby retires in 2022, whoever it is going to be the senior senator from Alabama. And speaking of senior senators, Merrill is a decade or 2 decades younger than his opponent.
Well, if we get anybody but Merrill, we're going to have a senior.
Yeah, senior.
A senior citizen,
Something we've
senior
discussed
senator.
is like they really don't. The seniority is what matters there, and they're not going to get seniority till 20, 30 years down the line. You're going to have a 90-year-old, senator with seniority. Finally,
Yeah,
he
there's
made
a couple.
it.
I'm going to be over 100 by then.
I want the health care that keeps them spry until they're 90.
Just do a Strom Thurmond, right?
If we all had Senate health care.
Yeah.
I don't want Medicaid for all or Medicare for all. I want Senate health care.
That's basically Medicare for all. I hate to tell y'all, that's how we can.
Man, but I think the poll is the thing. And I mean, the poll, the primary is it's about 8 months away.
Yeah, because remember, it's in March, not in June.
That's right. So, I mean, people have got a lot of work cut out for them, a lot of name ID to perk up.
This is going to be fun.
Oh, God. And Merrill just took the first whack at them. Can't wait till they start beating up on each other.
Oh, yeah, it's going to get nasty.
There are a lot of good things to say about all of them.
And we have most of the stuff to say.
Yeah, we do.
We'll be right back. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. Let's talk about 3M dumping.
You've always dreamed of owning a home and investing in your community, but where do you start? Ask a local realtor about Alabama's new first-time homebuyer savings account. If you're looking to buy your first home or are re-entering the market after 10 years, contact your realtor to learn how to set up a tax-free savings account at any Alabama financial institution. Savings of up to $50,000 can be used as your down payment or towards closing costs. The first step on the road to home ownership. Let us help you get there.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Playing the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head-on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
A lot can change in 5 years. Except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. Sometimes you just don't even know what to say. I mean, we have had so many problems with polluters in this state and politicians turning a blind eye to it, even accepting money to represent them. We now know for a fact that 3M has been polluting the Tennessee River for a number of years. They've admitted it, Josh. You've reported on it. Yeah. They actually reported on themselves, and the Alabama Environmental Management Group here has not done a thing about it.
No, that's basically all true. And WHNT has done a lot of the groundwork on this and finding some of the documents and stuff. And they found out last week that for years 3M has been reporting dumping these banned pollutants into the Tennessee River, and ADM had the documents. They sent the documents to them to say, hey, we've been dumping this, and nobody alerted anyone. There was no fines, there was no penalties, there was no anything about it. And so
no public notification either.
No, and that's I don't know what we're doing with ADM anymore. It seems to be, I'll tell you honestly, ADM, and we seem to have this problem all over the place, where ADM, the Ethics Commission, they seem to be buffers for people that want to break the law.
Right.
That they turn into this kind of clearinghouse where they go and say, hey, we're going to do this illegal stuff. Will you okay it so we don't get in trouble? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, whatever, man, cool, send us some more money.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what's happening a lot now with ADM. I know that there are good people who work there. There are scientists and people who have got jobs there that are trying to do the right thing. And it's a shame to kind of paint them all with that broad brush, but if you're not doing the job, you're not doing the job overall.
Well, someone at the top has to make the decision, Susan, to say, we're not going to look at this. I mean, and you brought a thing, the public doesn't know. We have drinking water, we have groundwater, we have pollutants that they know about, and they don't tell anybody.
What, Tyson dumped 800,000 gallons of wastewater?
For the fourth time in the last several years.
And nobody, and nobody said anything about it. Nobody's done it. There's been no public notification of this. We're talking about bathing. I mean, whether you drink bottled water or not, we're talking about bathing our children. I mean, Andy Lou is up in that area. Bathing Andy Lou in that polluted water just tears my nerves up.
Save Andy Lou, people. Listen, look, that's serious. That is right. Just think about this, though. Think about, we have a place on the water up around the Tennessee there, and our dogs drink out of that all the time. I mean, honestly, it's dogs, not people. I understand that, but still, it's to that level. And if you don't know what's going on, you have your dog sick out of that. It's more than that. It's why are people not outraged?
And I don't see that either. I mean, Charlie, can you imagine that that the water that some of our people are drinking is probably poison, and you don't say anything? What kind of conscience does that take?
I think it takes a person who doesn't have a conscience. I mean, honestly, someone who genuinely doesn't care about the consequences of their actions how it affects other people. But like you said, I think the reason people aren't outraged is because people genuinely just haven't known about it until now.
See, I mean, we got fish turning up, sideways up in the water, hundreds of thousands of fish, and we think it's okay to drink this water?
But
we think it's okay to bathe with this water?
People have known about some of this.
Yeah,
People have, I told the story before, my grandmother in the 80s, she filed a lawsuit there about the things that were going on with the river at that time. And so politicians, for as far back as the late 70s, early 80s, have known that these things are happening all through there. And instead of fixing it, instead of going about putting in more regulation to help stop it, they have deregulated things.
And forgive me, I did mean the public, not the politicians.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
Just making sure.
And I really, I want to bring this point up. Most of our leadership in the Republican Party and even in the Democratic Party says that they are followers of Jesus Christ. And they wear their Christianity on their sleeve as a badge of honor, which is fine. But when you allow the waters to be polluted, the air to be polluted, when you endanger people's life, let me ask you a question. Are you the good steward that Jesus talked about? Or are you the unfaithful servant that he talked about?
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent question. I mean, what is our responsibility here and in this? And I can't. As much as we love the outdoors here, and as much as we love the water, and God knows we got enough lake life stickers on cars, and and salt life stickers everywhere. We do a fantastically awful job of protecting it.
But that's the thing. I mean, we are stewards.
Yes.
We are responsible to take care of what we have inherited.
Yes.
Right.
And if we don't do it, then we are unfaithful servants. And I don't see how you can claim this mantle over here and then go over here and let polluters get away with this kind of thing, and you come back and kneel at the cross. Well, I think you need to stand up in the State House and get off your damn knees and do your job.
Stop worrying about the money and worry about the people.
Did I just say that?
Amen.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Got to take them to church every now and then, Charlie.
Sure you do.
All right.
That's the only way anybody listens.
It is something.
Well, and for Democrats, this is the biggest issue, Josh. The climate change is the biggest issue, and I think that should be an issue that everybody, to me, should look at. This is the earth we all inherited. We all should be concerned about it being.
No, there's no doubt. And listen, if you can do the science denying and all that you want to here, at worst, when we get finished doing the things that we're supposed to do here, we have cleaner air, cleaner water, and the dirt isn't killing people.
Well, to me and Charlie,
Much to add.
Apparently.
We are going to leave your generation worse off in every imaginable way unless we don't change. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel very good about that, but we're going to do everything we can to fix it.
Good. Well, we should.
Yeah.
Susan, you're going to get the last word.
Oh, really? For once?
When
Yes.
did that happen?
Stop it. Get it cleaned up. Make it happen.
That's the way it sounds at home, doesn't it?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay. All right.
works.
Well, you've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.
Isn't it funny that we take predictions from rodents on Groundhog's Day, but we don't take evidence from scientists on the environment?